Y'all, we back with another Solo Leveling Arise video, and today we're going to be showcasing another character. As like we do on this channel, we kind of make it a kind of like a little series, going through each character, so that way you can kind of get an understanding of what the character is, so you can be exposed to it and kind of see for yourself if you like this character or you like their game style or gameplay, right? So, of course, the character we're going to be talking about today is a character that's been here since, the early access, since literally the start of the game and all that stuff, so let's just get right into it. And that character is Huang. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Huang. It's actually Baek. Baek Yunho. So basically, this character has been here since the start of the game, and uh, a lot of people had their doubts on him when he first initially, when the game first initially launched and all that. And then people, grew fond of him and actually started to use him and actually liked him, right? And you might be asking, what does Baek do? Well, Baek is a light tank, right? Light tank, and he's a very good one. In fact, now he's not like the other tanks, but he does something that's very unique to him and also makes him very viable in a lot of cases, utility wise and so forth, right? So basically, he's more of a breaker type character. He breaks gauges from the enemies very quickly, and on top of that, he also does decent damage. And even on top of that, he can also inflict defense down, right? Like that. Like, what else can you ask for? He's providing the complete utility for your team. Like, it's nice, right? So this is the character we're gonna be talking about today, and we're just gonna go over his skills and all that, and we're going to be talking about his weapon, and then we'll obviously go through the artifacts and what kind of artifacts. So normally I would use a sheet like a visual sheet that I use from one of the creators on Twitter who says that I could use them. I like to give you guys a visual on that because it does help support them, and it also helps you guys understand from a visual perspective. But unfortunately, I didn't find an updated sheet of it, and the old one is kind of a bit scuffed. So, I mean, I could show you the old one, but I'll leave it on the screen for a short second, and then you could kind of look at it through there. And then, of course, I'll just go in through what I think about the character and what artifacts and all that. I'll talk from my perspective, aside from counting the actual sheet. Basically, this is the visual sheet, right? This is the one that they created on Twitter. As you can see, their Twitter is on the bottom right. So if you want to, support them and check them out, they do help the community a lot by providing these visual sheets. I'm not going to talk too much about what they have listed here. This is just mainly to show you what you would like kind of aim for on the character. And these are going to be the sets, etc., stuff like that, accessories, and of course their weapon and all that, right? So I'm just not going to talk too much about it. Like I said, yeah, I haven't found the more updated one. I would have preferred to use that one because that one actually looked really nice and it had kind of like the skill priorities and all that. But unfortunately, I could not find it. Maybe sometime in the future I will, do an update on that. But this is basically how you're going to build the character, right? And let's get back into the game. So we have Baek Yunho, right? And he's a breaker type character that works. His stats are solely based off of his defense. So you want to build him defense orientated, right? As you can see on the visual sheet, it did mention what substats you're kind of aiming for and what main stats. So if you want to just look over that, you can just, go back and pause the video and check it out, right? Okay, so now we're going to be talking about skills, right? So he's very basic, very simple-minded character. Nothing too exclusive or unique compared to other characters. He's very simple. You basically just use his skills, and that's literally all you do. He doesn't have anything crazy to him. He just does really good break, right? So all his normal attacks do weak break. His core attack does weak break as well, right? Then his first skill does medium break. Then his second skill does heavy break. So that's good. Heavy break is really strong. There's like different break levels. So you have your weak break, your medium break, your heavy break, and then your almighty break. So he's like one off of like the almighty break, right? But it's really good. Like he breaks extremely quick. Then you have your ultimate, which does good damage, and then it inflicts defense decrease to the enemy because it automatically triggers violent explosion. Violent explosion is basically like his passive, where if the last hit of all his skills, basically inflict a stack of white flame, and once he hits 3 stacks of white flames, then he'll trigger an explosion that does 400% damage of his defense, and then it also applies defense decrease. It's very easy to get because once you apply this debuff to the enemy, they will always have the debuff on them every time you get those stacks on them, right? Of course, after you get the 3 stacks of white flame, it'll disappear, but then you can just reapply it once you use more skills. The ult will just automatically activate it, right? So like you don't have to get 3 instances, it will just automatically use Violent Explosion, which is really good. It makes him really strong at doing short-term burst and short-term break, right? Short-term and long-term break. So yeah, he does defense down, can break really fast. He's very simple, nothing crazy. Like I said, you'll see when I show you the gameplay of him. Now, in terms of artifacts, now for artifacts, of course, I'm going to break set. The reason I'm going for the break set is because the reason you're going to be using him is for when you can break enemies. If you wanted to use him for his defense down, you can, but there's other good options that are more DPS focused that can also inflict defense down, like Choi, right? But Baek, he fulfills the role of defense down, does damage, and could do break, right? So he's really good in areas that you actually need to break the boss, even if you're not type advantage. So he's good versus type advantage and non-type advantage, right? So this is why I use the break set on him, because he's literally, in my opinion, probably the best breaker in the game. I don't think anybody else comes close to how quickly he breaks, not including Sun Jin-woo with Almighty Break skill on, obviously. But I'm talking about just strictly speaking hunters. I think he is the best breaker in the game, period, overall. So this is why I'm using the break set on him. Of course, you can also use the crit set if you want to opt him as a DPS kind of character, but I suggest that you probably go the break set because that's the reason why you're going to be focusing on them. There's plenty of other characters that can do the role of DPS for you, like Chaeyin or even Alicia or even Huang, right? Now for your accessories are going to be very distant. You're just going to have them in there. You're going to go out there. You're going to use your skills, and then you're going to use your ult, and then you're probably going to get out of there. You're not going to have him on the field for too long. He's literally there just to inflict break and use his skills. So this is really nice for him. You won't have to worry about MP usage because, like I said, it's going to be short. You're just going to have him go out there, use his skills to try to break as quick as possible, and then inflict the defense down, and then go to your main DPS to actually follow up and do the most damage, right? So these in my opinion, these are going to be his preferred sets and the best sets for him overall. Now, just go through his stats real quick. So as you can see, there were some pieces of gear that were kind of like iffy, but I really didn't have any other options, and I kind of kept getting, destroyed by the rates. And I was kind of holding off on this Baek video for a very long time. Like I wanted to do this a long while ago, and I just couldn't have because I was just trying to get more pieces, and it just couldn't happen. Like I've had him like ready to go for a while. I just wanted to make it sure that it was at like his like a decent ceiling that I would like agree with. But I guess I kind of feel like now my stats are kind of like very good spread, and yeah, I mean I could get better, of course, and you guys could probably even have even better ones than me, but I think I did pretty good overall. Now, my defense is about 11,729, really good, really nice. That's kind of want to have at least like at my level, you want to have like at least 13k defense, but at least or 13k of whatever stat if it's attack or defense. That's usually where you want to be at least. But for me, I only got 11,700. So I mean, it is what it is, but it's okay. It's fine. It doesn't diminish the character whatsoever. Next up, crit hit rate 50%. So we always try to keep that consistency, try to get as close as possible to 50%. You don't have to be at 50%, but just get close for between 45% and 50% is good. Crit hit damage, just try to get as much as you can. Try to have it on your boots, try to have it on all your accessories, if possible. If not, it is what it is. Defense penetration, 10%. I always try to keep this as my standard for all characters, 10% defense pen. Damage increase, I actually got a lot of damage increase for him, a lot. For some reason, I just kept rolling it. I have about 17% almost. So that's really good. So now you know what my stats are, and then this is what his weapon does real quick. Increases light damage, and then when you attack targets that have white flames active on them, which is basically almost all the time, it will increase his defense by 5% for 20 seconds, which is fine because the 10 seconds downtime can be the 10 seconds that you're not actually on the character and you're attacking with your main DPS, right? So by the time you actually get back to him on your rotation, it will probably be up again, so you'll still do good damage, right? So yeah, that's all it about the character. We have already talked about him plenty enough, so now let's actually get into the nitty-gritty part. The actual content, the damage, the gameplay. Alright, so we're just going to remove all these. We're going to do the same thing we do with all of our gameplay showcases. Whoops, did not want to do that. Crazy. Only one character, right? Just one character to see their raw damage just by themselves. And then we'll do it with the team, and then I'll try to take him into probably Spider Boss, so that way you can kind of see how quickly he breaks. Not really his damage, but how quickly he breaks, because the damage is going to be scuffed since I have 3-star on it. Right? He's gonna go and dodge that, right? So the damage is okay, right? It's nothing crazy. He's like I said, he's more of a great character, but his damage is alright. So don't expect too much from him as a DPS, right? You can make him into a DPS, but I wouldn't recommend it. Overall, pretty standard basic damage. I'm just trying to see if I can get to his ult before then. But since I'm running the Veer Distance set, I am kind of taking very long. And I am starting to run out of MP while doing this, right? Also, keep in mind, a lot of his skills have a long animation time, so you want to make sure that you're not actually getting attacked while you're doing it, so that way you don't actually get interrupted, right? Right? And then we're just going to focus again to do that explosion, right? And then we'll do another violent explosion right here from the zone. I didn't even get to beat damage because the positioning in this game is kind of weird. Anyways, I don't want to, drag it on too long. As you can see, his damage output is nothing crazy. It's okay at best. He's going to be more of a great character though. Now we'll just put him in the team scenario, doing the same thing, but obviously in the team, right? So we'll just have Min. Where is Min? Where is he? We'll have Min. Who else can we put that can complement him? I don't really think there's anybody else that could complement him, because all the other characters are going to be main DPSs and kind of hog in the show. We'll use her as a sub DPS, right? And then we'll just go into Baek. Alright, so this is going to be the team, and we're going to use Baek as our main DPS, of course, to showcase right here. Of course, we're going to get in. He's going to do his little annoying stuff, run to the other side of the map, make me waste my time running, and then inflict the stuff on him. Okay, good. Alright, okay, now we're just going to go into Baek. Fortunately, this guy's being really annoying. Damage is nice, you see. It's not bad. It's really good for being a breaker character and focusing more on the utility. We're going to go right back into Min one more time. And this time we're going to see how much damage he can output, right? Now, I'm going to go into Alicia once more time. Got to be careful because my Alicia does too much damage. Right, so I froze him. As you can see, I'm doing good damage. Ooh, right? Just get this all off before his defense down goes away. 1.4 mil, right? So he can definitely output damage. Like, do not get it twisted. He can definitely output damage, but like I said, his main role is literally to be your kind of like your sub DPS, right? You're mainly just trying to focus on his breaks, but he can do a little bit of both. That's why I consider him probably one of the best breakers in the game, just because he can do good damage. He can do good damage, and he can also break, right? Of course, as you saw earlier when I attacked Alicia, he was nowhere near her damage, right? Obviously, nowhere near her damage, but his damage was really good still, regardless. 1.4 mil on his ult when he's more of a utility and break character was still amazing. And that was no dupes or anything, right? That was just having him, right? And even with like kind of bad subs, right? Now we're just gonna go into this. I was gonna do this, but I think we'll do Spider Arachnid, right? Because now I'm not really trying to showcase for the damage, but more so try to showcase his break, right? We'll use my Spider 10 team, right? We'll do this, and then I'll kind of show you how well he performs in it, like how much he can actually do. Do keep in mind the damage is not going to be very important here because I have three starred it. but I just want to show you how much break damage he can do to bosses that are weak to his typing. All right, so we can do this real quick, and then we're gonna go into it. Look, his break dodge is full, right? See, I practically almost took out almost his whole entire break dodge with just one skill, right? Practically with just one skill. I mean, not, excuse me, not one skill, three skills, right? Because I mean, I canceled it, I dash canceled it early because I didn't want to get hit. So I naturally I probably could have broke the entire boss easily just with those three skills, which is easy to do because of his long animation times on these skills. You do his first skill, then his second skill, and then his first skill once again, right? That would be three times, right? Like, I'll show you one more time. Oh, he dodged me. Very unfortunate. He keeps attacking very frequently. And then for some reason the webs did not want to come out, but that's okay. As you can see, he breaks really fast, really powerful breaks. He's not weak whatsoever. I still think he's the best breaker, period, in the game. Nobody comes close to how quickly he can break a boss. Like, who does good damage and he breaks really good, but I don't think he breaks as quick as, as Baek. Baek is just much more simpler and doesn't need to do any dashes or anything to actually perform to break. Overall, he's really powerful, breaks easy, does decent damage. He's not bad at all, inflicts defense down for your team. He fits. He's very flexible in so many teams. I don't really see what's wrong with the character. He's, in my opinion, one of the best characters. Not for the reason for DPS, but more so because, I mean, his utility is really strong. The best breaker in the entire game. No cap. On God. Very simple character too. Like, you don't need to know how to play the character. The character is very straightforward. Just use skills and use ult when you have it, right? You'll have the defense down. You'll do good damage. You'll break. It's all good. He's one of the simplest characters, and all you have to do is just build him defense, get some crit rate, and get some crit damage, and you're good to go. Easy clap, and just make sure you're using the break set and the very distant set. Simple as that. But yeah, I don't want to keep dragging this on long enough. This was already a good showcasing of him, kind of to get an idea of how his damage is, and then also kind of get an idea of how quickly he breaks. When I'm just showcasing damage, of course, I want to have neutral for everything. It's just easier to showcase everybody at neutral damage. So that way, if you want to compare characters on the channel or just characters you have, it's much easier to understand the difference in their capabilities, especially if you do it on the same exact boss every time. So yeah, without me dragging on anymore, appreciate you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Of course, in the future, I will have more content of, the character or, any other characters, of course, that released in the game, showcasing them from no dupes to max dupes, all sorts of things, right? I do have a Wu showcase incoming very shortly because I do got the last two dupes. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do a no dupe showcase, but I'll showcase him anyways without 5 dupes, and then I'll showcase him later with the 5 dupes because the 5 dupes will be increasing his damage very, very exponentially. So I don't want it to get skewered when showcasing his actual damage output potential. I'm just going to try to keep as low as dupe as possible for him specifically, right? So yeah, he's going to be ready sometime in the future. Could be a couple days from now, could be a week from now. I'm not entirely sure yet. It just depends on if the artifact god wants to help me out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, anyways, I already talked again for too much, even though I was ending it off. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.